What is going on, guys? Mikey P Games here, and the Rams are coming off their bye week. We are now heading into Week 9 fresh, going up against a 4-3 Carolina Panthers team. Let's get right into it. The Rams start off the game on offense, and Lynch is in shotgun formation on 1st and 10 from their own 28-yard line. It's a handoff to Devontae Freeman, and he is right off to the races, not touched at all, but there is a flag. Devontae Freeman ends up getting to the 2-yard line, but it's brought all the way back on an offensive holding. So on 3rd and 14, Lynch is looking deep to pick it up, and he finds Marvin Jones on the route. Here's another look at it. It goes right over the defender's hands, and Marvin Jones is able to bring it in for a first down. 3rd and 2, it's another handoff to Devontae Freeman, who picks up more than enough right there. So on 1st and 10 on the Panthers' 14-yard line to pass to Hawkins, who makes a man miss, and he is spun into the end zone for the first touchdown of the day, 7-0 Rams. Carolina finds their offense on the field for the first time today, and Aaron Rodgers is met by the defense for a loss of 3. So it's 3rd and 13 on their own 22. Rodgers alone in the backfield. He ends up forcing the throw, and it's almost picked off, but it ends up going incomplete. Panthers punt the ball off to the Rams. And on 1st and 10, Lynch doesn't like any of his targets, so he takes off on his own and picks up a nice 15 yards on the play. So on 2nd and 9 on the Panthers' 47-yard line, it's a pass that is picked off by the defense. It gets back to midfield. Early mistakes for the Rams. 3rd and 13 on their own 46. Rodgers steps up in the pocket. It's sacked. It goes straight up in the air just like we saw in London. And there has to be a button, man. Like, seriously, I cannot pick up fumbles to save my life. So on 1st and 10, we end up getting the ball back. It's a pass to Mike Evans on the slant route, who gets about to the 45-yard line. Then on 1st and 10 on our own 20, Lynch drops back, tries to throw it to Marvin Jones here, but somehow the defender comes away and picks it off. So the Panthers find themselves with the ball again, being able to hold the Rams to 7 points both drives. And Jonathan Stewart gets a nice run. He is off to the races, but Trufant is able to catch up to him just past midfield. But a big run for the Carolina Panthers offense there. On 3rd and 1, Panthers hand the ball off to Jonathan Stewart, but the defense is able to plug the run up before he gains the first down. So from their own 38-yard line, on 4th down, they decide to attempt a field goal, but it's a fake. The quarterback flips it to the kicker, and the kicker throws an interception. Rams come away with the ball, get back to their own 43-yard line. So on 1st and 10, Lynch snaps the ball, and he ends up throwing it to Mike Evans, who has 2 defenders to beat. One missed the tackle. He spins out of the other and is pushed out at the 4-yard line. Now 1st and goal within the 5-yard line. Lynch snaps the ball, hands it off to Devontae Freeman, who finds his way into the end zone. Now a 14-0 game. Panthers back on the field trying to get their first score of the day. Aaron Rodgers throws deep to the one-on-one Jordy Nelson, and the corner is able to swat it out of his hands. 3rd and 1, Rodgers in shotgun. The handoff to Jonathan Stewart is not good enough to pick up the first down, so the Rams get the ball back with 1:50 left to go in the half. Lynch changes the play, drops back, fires deep for Marvin Jones, who catches it over the defender and is taken down at the 38-yard line. So on 1st and 10 from the 38, Lynch drops back, gets sacked, and loses the ball, and it's recovered by the Panthers defense. Panthers find themselves in a great situation before the half. Snap the ball. Tammy, the tight end, catches it. It's a fumble recovered by Desmond Trufant. He's tackled at the 40-yard line, but the penalty ends up happening on the Rams, so Panthers get to keep possession. On 3rd and 3, Rodgers drops back, finds his receiver inside the 30-yard line, and on 4th and 8, they decide to kick a field goal, take some points here before the half is over. The ball is snapped, and Zach Bowman blocks it. Will Hill shrugs off a tackle, and he is off to the races to take it back to the end zone, to the 30, the 20. No one is near him. Touchdown, LA Rams, 21-0 going into the half. What about that blocked field goal there to end the half? Panthers got the ball to open the second half, and on 2nd and 1, they are not able to pick up the first. So on 3rd and 1, they go right back to Jonathan Stewart, and the defense is there to stop the run again. Rams get the ball back. 2nd and 6 on their own 24. Lynch drops back, fires deep for Sterling Shepard, who catches it over his shoulder, and no one else is there to stop the touchdown play. Panthers find themselves in a 21-0 hole. So on 1st and 10, they throw it up to Jordy Nelson, who is not able to bring in the pass. Great one-on-one coverage by the defense there. 3rd and 11, Rodgers in shotgun. Rodgers snaps the ball, fakes the handoff, finds his tight end, but the tight end is not in position to pick up the first down. Rams get the ball back on 2nd and 10. It's a handoff to Devontae Freeman, who picks up 9 yards, just short of the first down. So on 3rd and 1, they go back to Devontae Freeman, who has a giant hole in front of him, and he is off to the races trying to make up for that run that got called back earlier. Devontae Freeman is down at the 2-yard line. 1st and goal on the next play. Lynch is sacked, and he loses the ball, and the Panthers are able to recover it. Panthers are in a shitty situation on their own 5-yard line, but Stewart says, hold on, I'll get us out of this. Picks up 10 to the 15. 1st and 10. Rodgers drops back, finds his tight end. He loses the ball, but he's able to jump right back on the ball. Panthers keep possession. So on 2nd and 5, Rodgers in shotgun. Snaps the ball, drops back. He's sacked, and the ball is loose. Outside linebacker Robertson jumps on the ball and takes it back to the end zone for a touchdown. 34-0 Rams with 4 minutes left to go in the game. And Carl Nassib on 3rd and 6 gets a sack. Rams are back in possession of the ball on 2nd and 11. The throw to Will Tye gets across the 35-yard line. So on 3rd and inches from the 9, there's a handoff to Freeman, who picks up 4 yards on the play, enough for 1st and goal on the 5. So on 1st and goal, it's another handoff to Freeman, who sees open field to the end zone. Now 41-0. Carolina back on the field, trying to put up some kind of points so they can pull away positives. But on 1st and 10, the safety, Will Hill, jumps the route and picks the ball off. Now 2nd and 7 from the 32-yard line. Lynch snaps the ball, dumps the ball off to Devontae Freeman on the screen. Freeman spins out of a tackle, high steps out of another one, and it looks like he will score a touchdown, but apparently he is pushed out of bounds at the 1. So on the 1-yard line, we hand it off to Carlos Williams, who walks right into the end zone to make it a 48-0 game. This would be the final score of the game. Rams coming back to their dominant ways. They started off the season. It being week 9, I'm going to jump into standings and stats throughout the league now. Halfway through the season, teams are starting to think about making the playoffs or not. And in the AFC North, the Bengals have a hold of their division at 7-1. The Ravens in 3-5. Then we have the second user as the Steelers in at 2-6, who is really going to have to win out if he wants any chance of making the playoffs. Then we have the Browns at 1-8. So in the AFC South, we have both users in 1st and 2nd. The Jaguars sitting at 8-0, one of the 4 perfect teams to this point. And the Texans, who have taken a fall, falling to 500 at 4-4. He still has a good chance of making the playoffs as a wild card team, though. Then we drop down to the Colts, who is giving him some competition for 2nd place at 4-5. And then in last place, we had the Titans sitting at 3-5. Heading over to the AFC East, we have the Dolphins in 1st place, being the first user at 5-3, and right behind him in 2nd is the second user as the Patriots at 4-4. And you can't count the Jets and Bills out quite yet in this division. Jets at 4-5 and Bills at 3-6. Anything can happen in the AFC East right now. Heading into the final division of the AFC, we have the first user as the Broncos sitting at the top, undefeated still at 8-0. Then we go down to 2nd place, which is the second user as the Raiders at 7-1, showing some competition with the 1st place Broncos. Then we have a tie for 3rd or 4th, whatever you want to rate it as the CPU Chiefs are 2-6, and the final user as the Chargers is also 2-6. Heading over to the NFC, we'll kick it off with the North. We have the first user as the Packers sitting atop at 6-2. Then we have 2 CPU teams following, the Vikings in 2nd at 4-3, and the Lions in 3rd at 3-5. And we have the lone winless team up to this point as the Bears, which is our second user in the division, at 0-8. Heading to the NFC South, we have the first user in 1st place as the Falcons at 6-3. Then in 2nd place, we have the CPU Panthers at 4-4. I don't really think the 1st place guy is going to lose it to the CPU, though. Then in 3rd place, we have the second user, who has improved over his 0-6 start, 0-5 start, and is now 2-6 in 3rd place, and the Saints are in last at 1-6. Now in the East, we have the first user sitting at top, undefeated at 8-0, one of the 4 teams still undefeated. In 2nd place, we have the second user as the Cowboys, trying to hold down the 2nd place spot at 5-3. Then in 3rd, we have the Redskins at 4-4. And in last, we have the Giants at 2-6. Wrapping up the NFC and the standing overlook, we head to the West with our Rams sitting at the top as the last undefeated team. Then we get the 49ers at 4-3 and the Cardinals at 4-4, battling for that second place spot. And then last, we have the second user in the division, the Seahawks, at 2-6. Let's head into the stats overlook now. Alright, so at first glance, we tell there are a few new faces in the top 5, but number 1 has not changed. That is still Carson Palmer with 3,384 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 18 interceptions. Heading down to number 2, we get our first new face in Robert Griffin III from Philly with 2,436 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. In third, we have Tyrod Taylor of the Pittsburgh Steelers with 2,355 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 21 interceptions. What the hell are you doing out there in Pittsburgh, man? In fourth, we have our man Paxton Lynch of the LA Rams with 2,349 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. And heading into fifth place, we have Eli Manning of the Atlanta Falcons with 2,234 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Now looking at the rushing leaders, we have AP of Dallas with 132 attempts, 1,205 yards, and 9 touchdowns. In second, we have Latavius Murray of the Houston Texans with 125 attempts, 1,185 yards, and 15 touchdowns. Wow. Really running the ball out there in Houston. We can say the same thing in Cincinnati with Coleman with 144 attempts, 1,080 yards, and another 15 touchdowns. Then we head down to Jacksonville with David Johnson with 147 attempts, 1,040 yards with 9 touchdowns. And then we hit a drop-off with yardage with Todd Gurley in Seattle with 131 attempts, 898 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Now looking at the receivers, we have DeAndre Hopkins of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with 37 receptions, 984 yards, and 7 touchdowns. In second place, we find A.J. Green of Jacksonville with 31 receptions, 978 yards, and 19 touchdowns. If that doesn't tell you he is his favorite target, I don't know what else will. In third place, we find Travis Kelce, the tight end out of Atlanta with 50 receptions, 887 yards, and 8 touchdowns. And in fourth, we find Amari Cooper in Houston with 25 receptions, 844 yards, and 10 touchdowns. And wrapping up receivers, we still find Old Man Olsen from Pittsburgh with 39 receptions, 764 yards, and he finally got into the end zone 3 times. Looking at the defensive side of the ball, we are starting it off with sacks, and Jadeveon Clowney is dominating the sack game in first place with 15 of his own. We go to second with Daniel Hunter from Cincinnati with 8.5. And then we have a 3-way tie for third with Von Miller from Oakland with 8, Vic Beasley Jr. from Atlanta with 8, and our defensive end, Carl Nassib from LA with 8. And wrapping up with the stats, we are now looking at interceptions. And in first place, we have K. Neal from Cincinnati with 6, S. Carvin from Green Bay with 4, T. Gaines from Arizona with 4, Jamie Collins from Cincinnati with 4. That's 10 interceptions just on this list for the Cincinnati Bengals. And in fifth place, we have Ryan Mundy from Houston with 4. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. If you have any ideas, comments, feedback, leave it down in the comments. I'll get to them. And until next time, guys, peace!